Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for meeting us here at the 91st Annual Fashion Show at Washington University. I'm Amy Hauft, Director of the College of Art, and I'm proud to introduce all of you to our seniors and the collections that they've designed and sewn. But first, let me say a few things about what it means to be doing something for the 91st time. This year, 2020, will always be remembered for its worldwide pandemic, and it made me wonder what was happening 91 years ago. If you do the math, it turns out that this fashion show debuted in 1929. Yeah, that 1929, the year of the stock market crash and the start of the Great Depression. But did you know that there were also some significant cultural events that year, events that continue to this day? For instance, that was the first year that the Academy of Motion Pictures presented the Academy Awards. And it's the year that the Museum of Modern Art in New York City opens its doors for the very first time. And of course, that's the year that Washington University offered its first annual fashion show. You may know that that inaugural fashion show changed the apparel industry forever by launching the idea of juniors fashion. And in fact, several years later, St. Louis manufacturers became the first to market junior sizes. It's quite a legacy that these young designers work out of. And on top of that, it's quite a moment for their debuts, one that they will remember always. Originally, of course, we planned to have a fantastic fashion show replete with models and runways, music and crowds. But suddenly, mid-semester, we faced the coronavirus, and these young designers had to figure out how to present their works while following the rules of social distancing. No models, no crowds, no photographers. So then what? I think you're going to be impressed by the inventiveness and the ingenuity with which our designers and their tireless faculty have put together a presentation of their works. Raelyn Browning, Eric Lee, Meredith Liu, Chandler Marten, Matthew McLoughlin, and Lina Willey have a lot to show you. So let me get out of their way, but not without first telling you how welcome you are and how proud we are of these young fashion designers. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. What a great way to introduce our fashion show. I am Mary Rupert Strowescu, and I serve as the area coordinator for the fashion design program in the Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts. Before we start focusing on our fantastic Bachelor of Fine Arts seniors, I want to shout out to all of our fashion design students here at WashU. Typically, this fashion show includes work from our sophomores and juniors as well, both to give a glimpse of the progression that happens in our program and to give them a chance to present their work to the public. These slides are a snippet of the work the juniors have done throughout the year. We are a community of creatives that thrives on interaction and collaboration, and we grow so much with each other in normal times. Being separated because of the pandemic has been particularly challenging from that aspect, but our bonds are long-lasting and run deep, so we are not going to let something like social distancing get the best of us. Be sure to come back next year and see the work of these juniors as their capstone collections. We had many professionals interact with our students to bring their experience to the classroom. I want to thank all of you for being so supportive. Another category of support I want to mention is the fashion professors. Jennifer Ingram, Claire Thomas Morgan, Laura Desch, John Navy, and Annie Miller. This year I had the distinct pleasure of teaching the Capstone One class, where, with the mentorship of Philip Famano, Director of Trend Union, we worked to develop concepts, experiment with materials and form, and define the direction of their design work. Jennifer Ingram taught Capstone 2, where they produced the final garments and prepared the presentation you will see here. The Capstone collections were reviewed several times by industry friends and alumni from perspectives of design, buying, production, and the consumer. We thank all of you again for your time and effort in helping these fashion design students produce a body of work that exemplifies their creative capacity. Each time we hear feedback builds another pillar toward success. Please take the time to comment on Instagram or YouTube to help recreate those post-show conversations we would have had if we were together in person. And now, with no further ado, take it away, designers.
The rocket ship launches and time stands still. Captive spectators gaze upwards and discover a new sense of excitement in that brief period of unknowing. This period of thrill is what my collection, Space Renaissance, will visualize. The next Renaissance is here, with a new age of design as we move away from the solemn neutral which have defined contemporary fashion, and go towards an era where emotions are embraced and the heart is truly worn on your sleeve. With this collection, I explore emotions through color, reflecting imagery of space and retrofuturistic inspirations. Hyper-bright colors visually represent the wide range of emotions all people go through in life, each emotion as important as the next, and thus each representative color as bright as the next. My customer values authenticity in life and principle and is attracted to those items which are unashamed of their differences. Welcome to Space Renaissance.
Second mark has now been passed. We'll go on full internal power at the 50-second mark in the countdown. Guidance system goes on internal at 17 seconds, leading up to the ignition sequence at 8.9 seconds. We're approaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo 11 mission. T-minus 50 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong just reported back. It's been a real smooth countdown. We passed the 50-second mark. Power transfer is complete. We're on internal power with the launch vehicle at this time. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
For decades, we've reached for the American dream. Suburbia, the crux. Private land to call our own. We water our grass green and paint our fence white. We polish the pristine surface of luxury. But why are we polishing, and what? What lay below, bubbling up, cracks the facade, seeps reality, initiates a deep, hollow curiosity. How do we live, and what for? Who works so hard while we lay bored? Consuming for pleasure, consuming for pain, filling the days with the numbing mundane. The uniforms have it, the workers alike. Tough hands that deliver, construct, and drive. The hands that build these houses, that mow these lawns. The hands that bring us our pleasures and pick up our waste when we're done. We live in a system, pink shingle roofs in a row, but under those roofs we know that we can do better.
It's a game that we play, no one's safe. Maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure, maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure. Does sex even sell anymore? I feel like I've seen it all. Or maybe I'm just old. Or maybe I'm just bored. Maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure, maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure. Makes all the noise. Need to get what I'm thinking. Sometimes I don't understand what I'm saying. So it's fine if you maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure, maximize all the pleasure, even with all this weather, nothing can make it better. Maximize all the pleasure.
I knew I wanted my capstone theme to reflect some of the lessons that I had learned while I was in St. Louis over the past several years. During that time, I've experienced, both on a personal scale and on an external one, a lot of heartache and a lot of brokenness. But simultaneously, I've seen how that brokenness can be used for some really beautiful things and work toward a transformative redemption. In the same vein, I found a really striking poeticism in the Japanese art of kintsugi, in which artists take broken pottery and repair the fragmented pieces together by binding them with gold lacquer. In essence, this repairs the ceramic pieces but highlights their points of breakage, leaving behind some really beautiful gold veining and an intact piece of pottery. My capstone emulates this process of healing from brokenness. In my first two looks, I try to harness that sense of brokenness through laser-cut negative shapes and some jagged detailing. They're very simple. The fabric is a matte polyester crepe that I was able to laser cut. It took a lot of material experimentation to find a fabric that could withstand this laser cutting without burning too much at the edges, but also could heat seal because of the synthetic fiber content. What I was left with in my first look is a very stark, sharp line across the heart. I took some inspiration from the shapes that resulted from smashing several pottery pieces that I found at thrift shops around St. Louis. The next two looks were going to maintain those same laser cut motifs, but this time incorporate some of the gold into the cracks. Unfortunately, in light of COVID-19, I was unable to physically construct these middle two garments, but they would have conceptually united the first and last pairs of my capstone. The last two looks of my capstone are bright white to sort of represent being washed clean of a lot of that brokenness, but they also still bear
some of the same diagonal motifs as scars, in a sense. My final look, the diagonal line across the chest, is the same shape as in the first look, but instead of being laser cut and negative space, instead it is surface detailing, kind of replacing that, but in a very valuable and beautiful material. The fact that these are white is also a bit of an homage to my childhood dream of becoming a wedding dress designer. I think especially now, having the fashion show unable to happen and, my work being displayed on a static fiberglass mannequin instead of real models that I had fit all of my muslins to, there is still that beauty in the brokenness of, we all grew from this situation. There were a lot of challenges, but we're stronger because of them. And nothing is irredeemable. I think that despite a lot of heartache, there's still hope for restoration.
Inspired by fetish and materiality, I designed modern luxury urban wear focused on the experience of the wearer without compromising aesthetics. My interest in trend forecasting is a major part of my process. Fascinated by cultural zeitgeist and allowing the current social, political, and economic trends all to influence my work and selected motifs. The work is grounded in a central belief that fashion is culture and must exist as a reflection of the times. I also have a deep love of fabric and materials, which are another great source of initial inspiration. This love of material culture culminates in a body of work that is varied in motif and form, yet cohesive in style and intent. Uninhibited and enthused by social taboos and boundaries, the designs are current and now, acting as a manifestation of how I see the world, constantly anticipating a need for change and a desire to move forward. My Capstone collection explores a fetish of sensuality. Incorporating a wide variety of fabrics and textures, my designs evoke a more intimate and stimulating experience, going beyond the visual and exploring a wearer's sense of touch. The high-neck silhouettes clinging tight to the body, connected through the cold metal chains, culminate these intimate sensations, bringing to the surface inner taboos about closeness, constriction, agency, and control. The animal prints and textures intertwine a feral, animalistic, savage quality of human nature that is often held below the surface. My designs create outwardly sophisticated wearable silhouettes, which physically and psychologically elicit a deeper, intimate, sensual stimulation.
Untitled Consciousness. Frustrated with the volatility of our present state and the continual pressure of distancing the physical self into a digital environment, this collection explores what physically defines the human. A constant awareness of the physical nature of the self and its fragility excites critical thought to the commonalities we all share. This exploration is rooted in flesh and blood as aesthetic, and how it can be brought outwards to deconstruct and reveal the internal human form. Blood, functioning as a fluid that is common among all humans and animals, acts as a source of developing a foundation of understanding, revealing the internal components of the human form, as well as exploring the bounds of silhouette through controlled excess. This collection aims to push contemplation within the viewer. With a focus on natural dyes and fibers, this collection is meant for those wishing to broaden their scope of the human experience while honoring the sanctity of nature. This collection is for myself. It has altered my personal experience in a way that is now irreversible. It has exposed and presented my vulnerability.
So the two awards we'll be giving out here are the Silver Ripper and the Sustainable Leadership Award. We'll start out with Susan.
Okay, well, I'm Susan Block, and I'm a former fashion major, and I graduated in 1976. And I started this award a little over 25 years ago, and it's an inspirational award. I gave it because there are always students that were always at the top of the class that always got all the awards. And I wanted to give an award to somebody that really, really strived and did well, really listened. And the teacher, the professors really thought highly of them, that if they were doing something not quite perfect, the teacher would tell them, give them encouragement and whatnot, and then they would go back and make it better, and just had a lot of gumption. May not have gotten all the top awards, but really were there. And I wanted to really be inspiring, because people are watching you, even if you may not be the one that gets all the awards, that people really are noticing you and doing great things. And I wanted this to be inspirational, to say, you're doing it and we're proud of you and whatnot. So this year, I'm very excited. This winner has shown considerable, I get this from the professors, so I'm taking it from the professors. This person has shown considerable growth, both conceptually and in terms of her craft. Jennifer Ingram's been teaching her clothing construction classes, and Jennifer commented that this person never balks at reworking her designs and improvements. And she's really developed a keen eye for quality. And so I'm very, very proud. And the Silver Ripper, I don't know if you all know, is in the shape of a sterling silver ripper, and it always has a little stone on the back of the end of it. And because when I was in school, I always ripped and ripped and ripped and then had to redo something. And so I knew what it was like to have to keep redoing to make it much better. And I always appreciated that. And I was never one to win all the awards, whatever. But anyway, it goes to Sasha. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I know they're very proud of you, and as of everyone else also, but congratulations.
I can definitely relate to ripping things out multiple times.
That's why it's sterling silver, and you can wear it as a pin. So.
Thank you.
Yes, we're getting it made as soon as the stores start making things again.
So you will get it. It's just,
yeah.
How everything is a little different this year.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'd just like to say that, I definitely feel like during the year I end up ripping a lot of things out and reworking designs. But I feel like this past year I've definitely had a lot of growth, and thanks to our wonderful professors who are always there, even when I have some crazy ideas that I don't think will work. They always help me figure them out. So I'm just really grateful for all of the professors and Sam Fox for everything they've done for us, especially during this transition.
Okay, so the next award will be presented by Rick from the Riverbend Textiles Company. I'll just turn it over to you guys.
I just want to start by saying my sympathy and condolences for ending a school year the way you had to. I know that our lives have been turned upside down. I don't think anybody signed up for this, but at least you're here, you're on the presentation, you're safe, and that's what's important. I own a company called Riverbend Textiles. Molly is my retail manager. We deal in vintage, we deal in thrift, we deal in many, many different things. Our parent company is Mednick Riverbend, and I play a little different role in fashion, and let me explain that. I'm the gravekeeper. I am the guy who, at the end of everything that you'll ever design, has to find a final resting place for it. So what we do is we take used clothing, fiber, mill-ins, scraps out of the marketplace that's destined for a landfill, and then we find alternative uses for that. So we have been a sustainable company since 1930. Last year, in the calendar year, we recycled over 10 million pounds of clothing that would be the equivalent of about 15 to 17 million garments. So it's a lot of stuff. So the Sustainable Leadership Award, it goes to a student whose dedication is towards sustainable fashion that's evident in your work and in your community involvement. And a big part of our company is giving back to the community. And I think that's really important. But I want to talk about one thing when you are in a situation where you're the future designers. You have to think about the future life of that garment. What's it going to look like in 10 years, 15 years? And that's something I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought in. What's the carbon footprint? Although I'll tell you what, the younger generation are the leaders. That's why we partnership with the colleges and universities, because you're at the forefront of the future. And I think that the younger kids get it. They get recycling, they get sustainability. So when you're producing a garment, or if you're producing an idea, or if you're creating something, think of the carbon footprint. Think of the labor that goes into that. Think of the transportation. Think of the packaging, because it's a total unit. And then your responsibility, and this is what we preach with sustainability is, your responsibility does not stop with the manufacturing of that garment. It has a life. It can go through 2, 3, 4 different wearings. It could end up in a foreign country. It could end up in an oil well. It could end up in a landfill. For those of you that have heard me speak before, 85% of everything in the marketplace will eventually end in a dump. Kind of a sad ending to a good story. So we partnershiped with Mary and the team last year, and were overwhelmed by her acceptance of us. And we felt that we could participate in helping promote sustainability by providing a small scholarship. So we have an award. The company writes a $500 check. And this year, because of her commitment to the community and her dedication to sustainability, Jenna Torgan, we are announcing you as the winner. Yay! I feel last year when we were standing up in front of, it's one thing speaking in front of a laptop, but when you're standing in front of a couple hundred people and you get to see the fashion show, it was truly a unique experience. And for that, I'm sorry that you don't get to have this presentation in front of a large crowd, but you deserve it. You were the WashU Upcycle Coordinator for the school year. You were organizing in the redesign of the Jersey t-shirts for the Kemper Art Museum. The fact that you got them to the St. Patrick's Center was amazing. You had an integral part in writing the Sustainable Fashion Pledge and coordinating with the workshops for both the designers and by the teachers for your commitment to sustainability and your involvement in the community. We are more than pleased to reward you for yourself and for your future, and enjoy it any way you would like. And where do you live? I hear you live in LA?
I do. I wanted to say thank you so much for this award. It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Before we begin, I just want to reinforce how proud we are of each of you. Your talent and potential shines through despite the extraordinarily difficult conditions that you were thrown into and continue to be enduring. Your resiliency and creativity are an example to us all. This year, our judges, Philip Famano, Ronnie, how do you say your last name?
Patzan.
Ronnie Patzan, and Elizabeth Jardinia, and Anastasia White had a very difficult time to really define the 2 award winners that we're able to recognize officially. But I do want you all to know that we wish that we could give awards to all of you because you've done really great work. So we'll start out with the Saks Fifth Avenue Honorary Designer Award. And for the past 7 years, Saks Fifth Avenue has presented the Honorary Designer Award that goes to the senior BFA fashion design student whose collection is most marketable. And we're so lucky today to have Ronnie here with us to present the award. Ronnie?
Yes, well, it is my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing all of your work that you had to pivot last minute, and it definitely did not end up being the project you had imagined it would be. I will just warn you, that will become a very common thing throughout your career. So whether it be you've planned on a whole collection of like beautiful, like specific dyed silk that, you know, the shipment got lost at sea, things happen throughout life. So I'll just, you know, I'll warn you, but also like definitely be happy and proud and see the silver lining and the fact that you are enduring such a challenging time so early on. I think it'll make it so much easier for you down the road when things don't go as planned or as dreamed or as hoped. And you look back on this time and realize you've gotten over it once, you will get over it time and time again throughout life's hiccups. So that being said, of course, I think there was one individual that we all felt was very buttoned up. Certainly, you're all quite talented. There was one individual I think focused on a customer perspective, and it was just so clear to me from a market point of view that, you know, I'm happy to award our Saks Award. And of course, normally we would present the collection in the store windows, and we do hope we can do this again soon. Maybe, who knows, it could be in the New York store someday, but we're happy to award Eric Lee with the Saks Honorary Designer Award for your stunning collection that was definitely market ready. There are, you know, some details we could go over that you could take that collection, just add a few things, add a creative video to it, and you're like good to go. That's a great introduction to your brand and your vision. So happy to congratulate you, Eric, for accomplishing that award. But certainly, like Mary said, we had a hard time choosing because there are a number of you who are highly talented as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I definitely appreciate receiving this award. Through at least Zoom, you know, it feels good that way. Would have liked to, you know, have had the collection in the windows, but either way, it's good to know that what like the hard work has been recognized. And I know that all of us have worked really hard on our collections, and especially during this time where we kind of had to make like a U-turn and kind of change what we needed to focus on. I'm really glad that I got to see, you know, everyone's work come out in the end and really see how we all each like adapted differently. And I think it came out really well and really cool. I just want to see where everyone else kind of goes on from here.
Thank you. Let's all give a round of applause. Let's do our little
Eric.
Thank you.
applause. All right. So our second award to the seniors is an award that has been a part of the Washington University Fashion Design Program for over 25 years. The Designer of the Year Award, sponsored by Dominic Bertani, who is the owner of the Dominic Michael Salon, is called the Silver Scissors Designer of the Year Award, and it goes to the senior BFA fashion design student who has holistically shown compelling creativity and exceptional skill in fashion design concept and execution. But not only that, this student also pushes to innovate and challenge him or herself while setting a positive example for peers. And we're very excited to have Dominic here with us to present this award.
Over 25, 30 years, we have been a part of the program, and we really, really like it. Typically, my staff gets to interact with you people and do some hair. We didn't get to do that this year, and I know they were disappointed. My young staff loves to interact with the university. Way back when, Jay Singleton, we used to, we couldn't decide what to give, what the award should be named. And it occurred to him one day, an epiphany, and he said it should be called the Silver Scissors because we cut, our fabric is hair, and your fabric, of course, is what you choose it to be. You know, so many things that you work with. So he thought the parallel made sense, hence the name for the award. Every year, it's just been better and better. You know, the university draws such a great pool of talent, and you produce such amazing works. So the criteria for this award is leadership, creativity, and craftsmanship. And I'm glad I wasn't a judge. I'm glad I just get to present the award, because as I watched everything, it's very hard. So some really terrific work produced by you all. But this year's winner is Lina Willey. So it's typically, and soon, I would hand you the Silver Scissors Award. It's being fabricated now. You know, everything is sort of slowed down because of the circumstances. But it is a lovely, handcrafted, uniquely handcrafted lapel pin, and it will we'll get it to you as soon as the local jeweler who fabricates it gets us to us.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. Wow.
Yeah, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Congrats to everyone. Did a really great job. Proud of everyone.
Indeed.
Normally, at this point in a face-to-face fashion show, we would bring out the planning and backstage team and congratulate them. In that spirit, I want to shout out to the inaugural fashion promotion and exhibition class. For the first half of the semester, these students from arts and sciences, business, architecture, and communication design plunged into the world of fashion and worked so beautifully to plan our in-person event. When the pandemic came and we had to pivot, they were amazingly inventive and worked with the fashion design students to showcase each collection's inspiration, materials, design process, and final editorial images on Instagram. In the words of promotion student Anya Carter, fashion has an incredible ability to bring people together and create cultural language. Thanks, promotion class, for creating a sound platform where the WashU fashion designers have begun speaking their cultural language. You might have been asking yourself, what are those objects on the fashion design show poster? Our clever communication designer, Audrey Westcott, photographed something from each of the fashion designers' collections. Now, I challenge you to go to Instagram at Woostel Fashion and tell us which item belongs to which designer. While you're there, please comment, like, and share, and then come back often.